السلام عليكم. يسعد مساءكم جميعا and welcome to our today's workshop, the 22nd workshop in this semester. Two more inshallah to the end, two more workshops are left. Today's workshop is going to be about understanding and avoiding plagiarism, presented by Dr. Adil Abdulrehman. Dr. Adil Abdulrehman is a faculty member of ELI here. He is assistant professor of education, and he has published several research papers on teacher education. So, Dr. Adil, the floor is yours. You may start now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Basim. So, just to confirm once more, everybody can hear me clearly, right? All right, nice. Thank you very much. And you can see my screen. I have also kept the chat open on my screen. So if at any time anybody has any kind of question, please do not hesitate to ask, because I really love my workshops to be very interactive. So at any stage, if you have any question, please ask. Okay, I start every workshop by telling the same old joke. When somebody is trying to sell something, you don't just give them the item and say, here, give me the money. You always start off by some marketing, by telling them the value of what that thing, that item can do for them, right? So in this case, yeah, that's right. In this case, before I start talking about understanding and avoiding plagiarism, I want to give you the credentials of the presenter, myself. Thank you very much, Dr. Basim, for the introduction. My name is Adil Abdulrehman. I have an MA in English, another MA in Applied Linguistics. My doctorate is in education, specializing specifically in TESOL from Exeter University, UK. I am CELTA qualified, and I am also a certified trainer of trainers. I have two different training licenses. One of them is from Cambridge, and another one, which I did back in 2012, from Norwich. NILE, Norwich Institute of Language Education, one of the biggest names in trainer education in the world. I am also a Cambridge certified IELTS examiner. I have 16 years of teaching experience and 8 years of training experience. And last but not least, I have published several research papers on teacher education. So that's me. And one last thing, before we actually start talking about plagiarism, is that we have two things to focus on today. And that is detecting plagiarism and then avoiding plagiarism. A lot of the focus will be on detecting plagiarism, because that, believe it or not, is not as easy as it sounds in the beginning. There are many different ways that you can face this problem. And once we talk about detecting plagiarism, then we will talk about how it can be avoided. Okay? So, first question. Why is plagiarism bad? We are not even talking about what is plagiarism. Just like a generic question. Why is plagiarism bad? You can either chat or you can open your mic and share your ideas. Shok says it's stealing. Bandar, same idea, it's stealing. Good, good. There you go, Naila. Someone else's work. Akram, yes, stealing other people's work. Abdulrehman says taking credit for other people's work. Dishonesty, that's what Muhammad said. Yeah, and Bandar also said not appreciating the efforts of other people. Thank you very much. Mhm. Yes, Nof claiming that this work is mine when actually it's not. Mhm. Very good points. Yeah, thank you very much. I can see that. Yeah, Naila, another great point. It stops your creativity. And thank you very much for that because it links directly to what I was about to say next. If plagiarism is not, controlled and acted against, it actually kills academic research. Because once you realize that you work very hard and you put all of your effort in, but somebody else, and it takes you weeks and months, in some cases even years, to write an article or a book, and then you see that somebody just wakes up one morning, copy paste, and boom, and they get the same recognition as you. That is incredibly demotivating, and you will not feel like conducting research again. Yes, Banda, intellectual rights. There you go. Another good point from Nov. Let's look at the next question here. That is the point of discussion. How bad is it? Meaning, how serious is it, in your opinion? In fact, this is directly connected with the next question. What can happen to someone who commits plagiarism? Another good point from Nov. Ikram says prison. I'm not sure about that one. Bandar says a person becomes miserable. Shok, a good point. Your research won't be published. It's useless if your plagiarism is detected. Yes. Very interactive workshop participants. I'm excited. Naveen says it's a crime. Shamil says can be sued. Yeah, entirely possible. Entirely possible. That's right. Thank you very much. Yeah, Naila, a good point. It's completely unacceptable for any kind of research. And moving on, let's see. As I said earlier, at the moment, we still haven't talked about the definitions or types of plagiarism, right? We're just talking about what happens when plagiarism is committed. Okay. Yeah, no says it cancels out the word. Yeah. Now, let me tell you what can happen. And obviously, I'm not going to list all the things that can happen to the culprit, but just I'll give you like the less serious scenario and then the most serious scenario. Yeah, yes, Sajda, completely unethical. Afnan, there you go. Another good point. Yeah, that's gonna come up. His degree will be unacceptable. Yeah. Let's look at this. Consequences for the culprit. And I used that word deliberately, culprit, because when we use the word culprit, right? When somebody does something really bad, like almost like a criminal, as somebody said earlier. So in less serious situations, it can only lead to embarrassment, that your colleagues find out that this person is a plagiarizer, and it's an incredibly shameful situation. And there's a lot of stigma attached to plagiarism in academia, and rightly so. Rightly so. I agree with that 100%. I don't think there is anybody can accuse anybody of being, let's just say, extreme about being strict when acting against plagiarism. The more strict we are, the better it is. And look at this one now. In a worst case scenario, being found guilty of plagiarism can be the end of your career. Does that sound extreme? Do you think I'm exaggerating? Well, I'll prove it to you right now that I'm not. This is an extreme case and it can happen. Abdurrahman says, as a researcher, yeah, it can even be worse, Abdurrahman, as you will see. Not just as a researcher, even, yeah, yeah. In fact, as a pharmacist, yeah, in certain fields, that's it. It's the end for you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Abdurrahman. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Mhm. Let's um, let's look at something that was in the news big time a few years ago. This is an actual news item. I did not make this up. The German defense minister resigns in PhD plagiarism row. You know, the chancellor of Germany these days is Angela Merkel. She was still at that time, she was the chancellor. This happened, I believe, I don't remember exactly, maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago it happened. And this gentleman, this guy, was like the right-hand man for Angela Merkel. He was he was one of the highest ranking officials in the German government. Nasim has a good point. As a student, you'll get a big fat F. Yeah, that's right. Look at this. German defense minister resigns. That's his name. What happened to him? He was stripped of his doctorate. And we're not going to read this, but I just wanted to highlight this part here. You know, before this scandal erupted, he was voted Germany's most popular politician. That was before people found out about his plagiarism. And later, he resigned, and instead, people started, look at his name. His name is Karl Theodor zu Gutenberg. And later, people started calling him to Googleberg. Google, because he copy pasted everything from Google. Now, if that's not being shamed, I don't know what is. There you go. Yeah, Sajda, good point. You will lose your credibility and reputation in any field. Doesn't matter where you are. So once again, very dangerous and something to be avoided. Let me tell you some interesting cases of plagiarism that are quite famous. One is Paul Schmidt. He was the president of Hungary a few years ago. He was also very popular. Originally, he was a sports person. He won medals in the Olympics. Then he turned to politics and he became some kind of minister, and eventually he became the president. In his case also, you know, once they found out that he had committed plagiarism in 1992. So he had to resign from his presidency. The next case is very interesting, this one. Ilyas As-Sabti. And let me tell you something. When you have free time, and if you want to read like a real thriller, like a really, really exciting story, something that sounds like fiction, read the story of Ilyas As-Sabti. I can tell you, as they say, truth is stranger than fiction. Because this gentleman, he did some amazing, I shouldn't even use the word amazing, but well, let me tell you, basically. He was a doctor, okay? Like a very good doctor. Nobody ever denied that. He was working in the US in the 1980s. Yeah, Bandar, yeah. And even his worst enemies, everybody said that he was an incredible doctor, very smart, very kind, very gentle with the patients, and he could immediately make his patients feel better because of his kindness and his attitude. So he published some nice scientific papers, and everybody was excited. Then he published another one, and then another one, and then another one. Can you guess how many scientific papers he published in 2 years? Only in 2 years. Can you give me a wild guess? Anybody? Just a wild guess. Exactly. Yusra, that's too much, isn't it? 1,000 an article a day. Around 60. Yeah, very close guesses. Yeah, close to 60. So some people say, but basically, yeah, around that figure. So eventually, people started becoming suspicious. Like, how is this possible? When is this person doing actual work? Yeah, Shok. Yeah. Even writing one article in a year is a big accomplishment. And there you go. Yes, Naila. That's why everybody became suspicious, you know? And when, because those were the days when there were no databases, no Google. This was in the 80s. But eventually his fraud was, uncovered. And it's a whole long story. I will not spend too much time there. But basically, that was the end of his career. And if you think that these are international large-scale cases, let me tell you about some local cases of plagiarism that happened very close to us in Saudi Arabia. Obviously, I'm not going to name names or anything. That's not the point here. Here's a case. I saw an article written by a person on something, okay? And I started reading that article, and then I saw something very strange in that article. I saw that some parts were academic, and in some parts, the writing was very, very journalistic and very strange. So I did some plagiarism detection, and you will never guess what I found out. Yeah, Thamer, we will go. We will keep going. Yeah, we'll talk about detecting plagiarism and then avoiding. Yes, we'll get there. This gentleman had copy pasted an actual article from Saudi Gazette inside their academic paper. Yeah, believe it or not, and this person's article was published, and there was no way to pull it back. So he had nothing to do but be ashamed, actually. Yeah. Ikram is citing an instance where somebody was sent to jail. There you go. And the last one, and this one was the most dangerous one, actually, in my personal opinion, in terms of, getting being shamed. One person, and this person claims that he did not commit plagiarism, and he proved it to some extent, but that's not the point. The point is, the person whose paper was plagiarized, she found out, and she went after this author, like Lieutenant Columbo. Now, if you don't know Lieutenant Columbo is a fictional detective from the 1970s and 80s. And when he used to go after a criminal, he would never stop. He would be after them morning, afternoon, even in the middle of the night, he would go and knock on their door. And this lady went after this gentleman like Lieutenant Columbo. She contacted his workplace and told them everything. She contacted his university in England where he did his MA. She contacted the university in England where this gentleman had done his PhD. She went all the way. She contacted the president of the university where this gentleman was teaching. So it was a big thing, actually. Yeah. So long story short, like closing off this section, we have to avoid plagiarism at all cost. Basically, it's not even a question of if or how much. No, it should be avoided. Just before we jump into the actual practical part of the workshop, I have a question. What is plagiarism? Like, if you want to define it very briefly, how would you define it? Mhm. Okay, copy pasting. Mhm. Yep, there you go. Passing off someone's work as your own, taking others' work without referring to it, copying, cheating. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you very much. Let's look at the way plagiarism is described on the University of Cambridge website. Yes. Uh, Ikram, I'm not so sure about that one. Kidnapper. Yeah, Abdulrehman, copying others' ideas as my own. Yeah. So let's look at it now. Using someone else's ideas, words, data, or other material produced by them without acknowledgement. Okay, this is actually from the University of Cambridge website, specifically the section on plagiarism and misconduct. Yeah, Shamil says, could be even pictures. In fact, the story that I told you earlier about the lady who pursued that guy, like Lieutenant Colombo, that was just about one table, only one table in that gentleman's article, not even a paragraph or nothing, just one table. Yeah, so any kind of material. Nassim says, to steal and be proud of it as fake until make it. Yeah, there you go. So now let's step into some practical parts, because I think we have all heard the old joke that when you steal from one person, that's plagiarism, and when you steal from many people, that's research. I mean, obviously, that's just a little extreme kind of joke, but the point is, whenever we write an article or do anything, we take a lot of material from different places, right? So, to be able to claim that work to be your own, we have to do some things. And we will talk about that after this one. But even before we get there, first we need to find out how to detect plagiarism. Because once you know which parts of your paper are being flagged as plagiarized, that will give you the idea of how to rephrase and to what extent you should rephrase different parts of your article or your paragraph or anything. So let's look at some options, okay? And we will actually talk about them one by one. We can try some free plagiarism detection websites. Now, when you type into Google, I will not name any specific websites here, but this is like the easiest option. You can try some free plagiarism detection websites. Now, there are some advantages and some disadvantages of using these. And I will actually show you the difference in quality on an actual chunk of text that I sent through all of these different options and how they flagged plagiarism. So when we talk about free plagiarism detection websites, the advantage is that obviously it's free and you can get it done real quick. and they actually give you the links from the websites or articles or books where the stuff was stolen from. So that's the good thing about them. But the disadvantage is number one, even, yeah, Bandar, good point. Yeah, even the websites that are supposed to be free, they are not completely free. They will have limits. Most of them have a limit of only 1,000 words. So if you are only writing, uh, I don't know, like a small paragraph, or if you want to check a student's work for plagiarism, this could be a quick solution. Okay. Another thing is, yeah, limited options, and it's not even good all the time. Lots of times, when you just even for testing purposes, if you take something obviously plagiarized and put it in these websites, they will tell you it's totally fine, not plagiarized. And obviously, that's deceptive. That's not true. Okay? Let me give you a practical example now. I will share something with you. Okay. So I'll just I'll hmm. Okay. Rahman. Sentence by sentence bot. Okay. 3-word check. Okay. I will just stop sharing the slide for 1 second because I want to show you the text that I used as a guinea pig to show you the quality of different plagiarism checking options. So let me see. Yeah. I believe you can see this text on the screen, right? Yeah. We will not read this. I mean, I just wanted to show you this. This is actually something that I found in one of the papers written by one of my students many years ago, an MA student. Okay. And once you have experience, obviously, you will have a good eye, even without using any kind of software. You will immediately notice a change in the writing style. And this part made me suspicious. Okay. And I checked it, and obviously, it turned out that it was plagiarized. I shouldn't even say plagiarized. Maybe that student needed more training on how to rephrase and make the work your own. But regardless, I took this text and I put it through a plagiarism checking website. Okay. And this is the report I got. Let me show you the report. Okay, I'll open it and then I will share the screen with you. So here is the report. Now, the good thing about this website was that it did detect some plagiarism, but it only, for some reason, for some inexplicable reason, you can see that it only caught the first sentence only. The part that starts from a constructivist approach, blah, 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 until cognitive enrichment. And it did not flag the next part. So just to check the strength of this free website, by the way, you will notice that they also gave you the link where this was plagiarized from, which is really, really convenient. So what I did was I removed the first sentence and I did a plagiarism check of only the second part, which it did not flag, starting from constructivism subscribes, blah, 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 blah. And then this is the report I got. Let me show you. Can you see that? Now, this website would have me believe that this was something original, that this was something that is not plagiarized, when in fact it is 100% plagiarized. So, as was said earlier by Bandar, that free websites cannot be reliable. And this is not just one website. In fact, I tried Grammarly. Grammarly is very popular, right? They also have what is supposed to be a strong plagiarism detection like engine. And I tried that, and it did not detect any plagiarism, not only with the second part, but with the entire paragraph. It said this is original, not plagiarized. So, long story short, free websites cannot be trusted. Okay? You can try it for some things, but we cannot um, rely on it. Nasim says many MA doctors recommend Grammarly. Grammarly can be good for grammar and different kinds of things, but as for plagiarism, as I told you, that I actually tried it and it did not detect plagiarism in something which was 100% plagiarized. Mhm. Okay, one participant. I'm assuming that's not your real name, Asus, ROG, Zephyrus. We have been alerted to not use free websites. It is not safe from scientific theft. Yeah, that's another danger. That's another danger. Your data can be stolen. Anyway, let's move on to the next option. So if the free detection, plagiarism detection websites are not reliable, so what can we rely on? Let's see what the next option is here for us. Let's go back to the slide. We can use Blackboard Safe Assign. For those of you who work at KAU or any other university, or if your organization has Blackboard, then you can use the inbuilt tool in Blackboard for plagiarism detection, which can be very strong. So let's look at how we can do that. Let's do that practically. Okay. I will open Blackboard and show you where we can find the plagiarism detection tool on Blackboard. Okay, I believe you can see my browser now in Blackboard, correct? All right. Thank you very much, Shok. Thank you very much, Hind. Let me zoom in so that you can see clearly. By the way, we are supposed to focus on the left pane, on the tab on the left, which has the clickable options. Let me, yeah, Abdulrehman, it has a very, very strong plagiarism detection tool. That is a big advantage for us. Let me zoom in. Zoom, 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 zoom. You know, when you zoom in too much, the left pane disappears, right? So all you have to do is just click here. Nasim says, okay, Bandar says, good advice. I use Blackboard daily, but I didn't know about that. Yeah, this is incredible. Nasim says, does Blackboard tool work only for Blackboard discussion? No, Nasim, it works for everything. You can actually enter any kind of text, anything from anywhere, 100%, no problem. Okay, let's see now. You scroll down, you scroll down, you scroll down, and you come all the way down to the part that says, hey, where did it go? Just a second. The part that says course tools. Am I missing? Ah, there you go. Yeah, I've already clicked on course tools. Sorry. Yeah, this one. Yeah. The part that says course management, okay? Under course management, you see in the control panel, there's content collection, and the second option is course tools, okay? So when you click on course tools, you see many options. We don't need those for now. Just keep scrolling down under course tools and come all the way down to safe assign. Can you see that? Safe assign, which is sandwiched between rubrics and self and peer assessment. Okay? So when you click on safe assign, this is what you will see. These three options. And you can play around with them, okay? There is safe assign items, there is direct submit, and there is suggest URL. For example, if you want to check a specific website that has anything been plagiarized with this, it's some kind of a comparison. But the one that we need for our purpose is this one, direct submit. Okay? I'm going slow because I realize that some of you actually are doing it. Yes, Abdulrehman, exactly. Thank you very much. Yes, I will do that. I will go through these steps 2 times because I realize that some of you are doing this in real time. So we will do it again so that we can follow each other. Iman says, is this available for students? I'm not sure about that, Iman. Okay, sorry about that one. All right. Ragad says it's not. Okay, Ragad has experience with this. All right, let's click on direct submit. Oh, somebody wants to say something? I see some mic activity. All right, let's move on. Let's click on direct submit and see what happens. When you click on direct submit, just a minute. So these are different plagiarism checks that I have run in the past. Okay, you can see one is called Hasuba, constructivism, future, Bill Gates, blah, 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 blah. If you want to check anything, all you have to do is click on submit paper. Can you see the black button on the upper right-hand side, submit paper? Yes, that's the one. You click on that, click. This is what you will see. And once again, you can play around with the options. You can Aisha, yes, Aisha. As far as I know, it's available for university staff only, or whichever organization that you work for. Yeah, Bandar, you can take the text from a student. You can. I have done that in the past. One time, the plagiarism check was not working in the assignment section, so I actually copy pasted that assignment. I came to Safe Assign and I did it myself manually. So that's doable. Ragad says, could you recommend other websites to us because we need it? Okay, Ragad. Once we finish talking about all the options, I will tell you my personal recommendation. Okay, Ragad and Aisha? Okay. All right. So let's go back to this page. There is the upload file section. If you have and you can see here, you can enter anything, a zip file, a doc file, which is like the old MS Word format, docx, docm, this one I don't even know, PowerPoints, old version, even PDF, okay? Or you can just copy paste the text here. If you don't want to, or if you cannot for any reason submit a PDF, then you can copy paste the text in this box and click on submit, and then that's it. And it's very fast actually. It's very fast. You will get your, depending on the size of the text, you will get your result. Maybe in 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5, 6 minutes, but it's really powerful. Let me show you what a plagiarism report looks like on SafeAssign. Okay? This was a student who I suspected had committed plagiarism. You see the name of the file. This is the original file itself, which has a green arrow pointing downwards. And here is the report, which says SA report. That means SafeAssign report. Okay, let's click on that and see what it looks like. When I click on it, this is what I see. Let me make it smaller so that you can see clearly. As you can see, different parts are highlighted. And on the right-hand side, you can see where it was plagiarized from, the actual website. You can open the website and look at the original source and everything. And in fact, when you click on the highlighted part itself, it will give you a side-by-side comparison. Look at this. This is the text from the student paper. You can see my screen, right? Yes, okay. You can, on the left-hand side, it gives you the text from the student, and on the right-hand side, it gives you the original source. So there you go. You can see immediately in one glance to what extent plagiarism has been committed. And this can be done. Yeah, Akram, in this case, both were exactly the same. Yeah, because this person was just, you know, yeah. Okay. So let's move on now. So this was the SafeAssign. Now, I feel that I should give you a caveat, a little caveat. Shok says, I need this. Shok, do you have access to any kind of Blackboard, like through your workplace or anything, Shok? Okay, undergraduate student. So maybe you can ask one of your advisors or professors or your supervisors, and they can help you with this. Abdulrehman said he had it in the high school system. Naila has a very good question. Look at this. If it was a citation and a reference, if you cite it, then you should not be worried. That is not a problem. But Naila brings up a good point, and once again, it looks like you are reading my mind, because just earlier when I said that that there is a caveat, meaning something to be careful about. You see, when you see some plagiarism reports from Blackboard, we all become excited because it's so advanced. At the same time, you need to be careful about two things. Okay, two things. Number one, and this is what I want to show you, okay? This is the same text about constructivism that I showed you earlier, right? A constructivist approach, the same one which I used using a free plagiarism detection website. When I checked it on Blackboard SafeAssign, normally Blackboard SafeAssign is 100% reliable. And even in this case, it has detected the plagiarism. It has detected the plagiarism, and it is showing you the text that I entered and the original. Just one little problem. it is not showing me where this was stolen from for some reason. So that can be a detriment in certain cases, okay? So in some cases, you will have to find the original. It will tell you that it has been plagiarized, but it might not necessarily tell you where it was plagiarized from. One problem. Second problem, and which is more dangerous actually, much more serious, and that is this. Sometimes it will tell you that something has been plagiarized when actually it has not been plagiarized. Now that sounds scary, right? That sounds very scary. And let me show you what I mean. Let me go back to this plagiarism report of this gentleman. Now, let's look at source number one, okay? And it is showing me the percentage of plagiarism, okay? So it's not even a question of one or two words, it's like 100% plagiarized. 75% from the internet and 25% from the institutional database, something from the university environment, okay? What I need to do, just to be sure, I should click on the highlighted part and just read it briefly. I don't have to read it word by word, but just to be careful. And in this case, you will notice they both attract thousands of visitors in spite of blah, 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 blah. And in the original source also, they both attract thousands of visitors, blah, 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 blah. But in some cases, you will see that Blackboard will highlight it as a match. It will say 100%. But when you go inside, you will see that it is not completely plagiarized, that the student has tried to rephrase it. Whether or not that's acceptable, that's going to be your judgment call. But the important thing to remember here is that in those cases, we cannot say it's 100% plagiarized, okay? So what is the take-home point here? What is the point I'm trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is don't just go by this number alone. If this number says 100%, don't trust it. Don't just look at that and end the argument. No, actually click on us on certain parts, and that will give you an idea of whether or not it has been plagiarized, okay? Before I close this, I just want to go through the steps one more time, okay? And I'll do it a little quickly this time because I want to talk about the next part. This is our Blackboard page. We look at the left pane, which has all the clickable options, okay? Just a minute, I cannot see the chat, just a minute. Bandar has a good point. As long as you quote the work of others, it is not plagiarized. Exactly, Bandar, yes, yeah. If you quote it, it's not plagiarized, yeah. Yeah, you go to the left pane, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, come to course management. Under course management, the third option, course tools. And when you click on course tools, then you scroll down to safe assign. And within safe assign, the sandwich option, the one in the middle, the one that says direct submit. Click on that. And then voila, the last one, submit paper. And when you click on submit paper, you can either upload a file by clicking browse, or you can copy paste the text right here. All right, a question from Akram. What is the minimum acceptable percentage in general? Okay, that's a very interesting question. That's an interesting question, and it depends. It depends, but generally, from different universities and different organizations, you will see 15 to 20% is acceptable. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It sounds strange, right? Plagiarism is bad. Why is it that they are allowing us to steal 20%? Why do you think? Can you guess? Okay, let me close this and let me go back to the slide because I now want to move on to the next part. I think you should be able to see the presentation now. Yes, you can see the presentation, right? All right. All right, some ideas there, topics, how to deal with items marked copyable. Shamila, okay, just a minute. Yes, Sajida. Yeah, good point. Good point. There will always be common words that will be repeated. This is actually a problem, not with, okay, let me just read some more. Probably because of things related to common knowledge. Yes, good point. Yeah, Afnan, some terms cannot be substituted. Rahma, we need to certify our work by previous works. Yes, Ragad. There are some phrases that if we change them, the meaning will change. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sometimes it's not possible to rephrase. Good point. Yeah. Shok says maybe you should happen to think the same way as someone. Yeah, exactly. See, all of these are very relevant points. And the thing is that there are times when even when you use the most advanced plagiarism detection software, it will show you some very strange things. It will show you that you have copied something when you have not actually. And because of the very same reasons that were highlighted here, when you said that some phrases cannot be substituted and some things are just related to common knowledge, something that you wrote originally. So that's why they are the plagiarism like acceptance levels are not so extreme that if the software will show even 1%, you will be labeled as a plagiarizer. No, we know that there are many things which are common knowledge and many things which cannot be rephrased. Everybody says them the same way. So for that reason, 15 to 20%. That's the answer to that question. And a good question there from Shamil, how to deal with items marked copyable. Okay, in most cases, Shamil, and this is something we all need to be careful about. In most cases, when you see something at the end of the book, end of a book or anything which says copyable, what that means is that you can photocopy that and you can use it for some kind of activities in class, or you can use it as a survey or whatever. It does not mean you can copy paste it and use it as research material without citation. Okay, Shamil, I hope I have answered your question there. Fahad says, sometimes these ideas we discuss. There you go. Yeah, Fahad, another good point. The same idea can be rephrased and discussed in many different ways. All right, let's move on now. The next part, Shamil says, what about using it beyond research? Yeah, in that case, you can do it. For example, if it's an activity, you can photocopy it and use it in your class. And you will notice something. You will notice that most of these, in fact, all of these ones which says copyable, you will see that they clearly mention their name either in the header or the footer on the document itself. So it means that they are actually telling you that you don't even have to tell people that I took this. I mean, you should tell them, but on the paper itself, it says taken from Cambridge or taken from blah, 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 and copyable. Yes, you can do that. Can we use educational materials that we don't know the source of? Okay, I tell you what, Shamil, hold on to that thought. I will answer this question in the end in the question answer session. Is that okay with you, Shamil? Because I want to move on and do the next part. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shamil. Very kind of you. So the next one, computer programs. And by far, by far, computer programs, if you are really serious, if you are really serious about, for example, you are writing something very important. Maybe it could be your BA thesis. Maybe it could be your MA thesis. Maybe even it could be your doctoral thesis. Or you are publishing an article with a peer-reviewed journal. So in those cases, if you want to be 100% safe, it's a good idea to use computer programs. And even with computer programs, there are some, I will tell you the advantages and I'll tell you the disadvantages, and I will tell you the name of one that I trust personally, okay? But let me make it absolutely clear, I'm not being paid by this company, so this is not advertising. I will not get a commission. This is just like for the purpose of sharing knowledge. But at the end of the day, you can use any trusted plagiarism detection software or program. Now, when I say advantages and disadvantages, the advantage is that, by the way, let me make one thing absolutely clear. When I say computer programs, I mean paid computer programs, the softwares that you can buy with money. Because even the same software, if you try the free version, it's not going to work as well. And I'll tell you the reason why. I mean, I think you can guess that, but we will discuss it anyway. So, and they can cost anything from $30 to $40. There are cheaper options, more expensive options. But the benefit is that you will get a very detailed report, something that you can feel safe about. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Okay, let me show you a plagiarism report from a paid plagiarism detection program. Okay, so let me stop sharing that and let me show you something else. Let me show you the interface of that program, the one that I personally use when I want to feel safe. Okay. Let me share that. Share screen and interface, share. I believe you can see that now. This is what it would look like. Okay. The name of this particular software is Plagiarism Checker X. And it's a very, very easy to use interface. You will see a big like text box in the middle. You can paste your text right here. And then you can click on check plagiarism. Or if you are writing your MA thesis or doctoral thesis, you can click right here on load document. And then you can upload whichever document you want to check. Okay? And once you do that, it will give you a report. Now, let me tell you two things right here. Number one, the one that I'm showing you right now, this is a free version. This is the trial version, okay? Because my subscription to Plagiarism Checker expired a long time ago. Yeah, it expired a long time ago. That's especially when I was doing my doctorate and later when I was writing research articles, I was using this a lot. But just to show you, I downloaded the free version. Yeah, Amal, hold on to that thought, okay? Amal, I will answer these questions in the question answer section, okay, Amal? Is that okay with you? Thank you very much. All right. So, yeah. Now, the strange thing about Plagiarism Checker X is if you download the free version and you try to do a plagiarism check with the free version, it's going to be very limited for obvious reasons. You know why? Because they know that if they give you all the access and everything, people will just download the trial version and check their MA thesis, get the plagiarism report, and that's it. Delete it. You know, people will be using their software for free without actually paying them anything. So they have made it very limited. And in fact, the complete and detailed report you can only see inside the program. You cannot export that. I will show you what you can export. Let me show you. Let me close this. Okay, Ikram says in KAU, the acceptable level in the MA is 15, PhD is 20. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. That sounds about right. That's very like standard. Okay, let me show you a report from Plagiarism Checker X. Uh, Share screen, report, and share. Okay, can you see the report now? This is the way when you export, when you can see the original full version inside the program with all the clickable links. But if you want to export the result and send it to somebody, then you can export it in MS Word format. And this is what it looks like. In this case, you can see that they found 19% plagiarism, and you can see that the plagiarized parts are highlighted. And it's not possible. Oh, by the way, it even shows you the number of words that were plagiarized, detailed data. The only difference between the report you can see in the MS Word document and the original report inside the app is that in the MS Word document, the text is highlighted, but it's not clickable. So for example, if I go there, then I don't know where this was plagiarized from. However, when you scroll down to the end of the report, then look at this. You can see all the sources from which the plagiarism has taken place, supposedly. When it says 0, obviously that means you don't have to be worried because in this part, you have already cited the author, so nothing to be worried about. 1%, no problem. On the other hand, if you see something which says, I don't know, 30, 40, 80%, then you should be careful. Then you will click on that link and it will take you to the original website where it was copied from. As you can see from this particular report, it's all nice and clean, nothing to be worried about. Okay. And despite all of that, you can see that they highlighted 19%, and that's why many organizations they say that 20% is acceptable. Akram says, what does 0% mean? Akram, it means that material was taken from this website, okay, that this article contains material that was taken from this website, but it's not plagiarized, 0%, no plagiarism, because of two reasons. Either you rephrased it properly or you have cited the original author. Thank you, Abdulrehman, for the explanation. Yes, it has been cited. Okay. So yeah, so the take home point from me is that you can use, if you want to feel safe, you can use a paid plagiarism detection software. I gave you the name of one that I like, Plagiarism Checker X. Let's go back to the to the presentation, and now I'll give you a little surprise. Okay, and this it's a good surprise for some cases, and I'll tell you what I mean. Okay, you can see my screen again now. This is the last one. After this, we will talk about trying to avoid plagiarism. You know, we talked about free plagiarism detection websites and Blackboard Safe Assign computer programs. And the text that I showed you earlier about constructivism, I tried that with free plagiarism detection websites. The result was not encouraging. I tried it with Blackboard Safe Assign. It detected the plagiarism, but did not give me the source. I tried it with the free version, not the paid version. The paid version would have done it properly, but the free version did not do the job. But I tried something else, which did the job perfectly. And that thing is totally free to use. Anybody can use it anytime. What do you think that is? I think you all know what that is. Not for an MA thesis, just like a paragraph or something like that. Can you guess what I'm gonna do? Yes, that's right. Google. I'm not joking with you, I actually took the entire paragraph that I showed you earlier. Yes, let me show you. Let me show you again this paragraph. Share screen, sharing option. Okay, stop sharing, share screen, the text, share. This text, I took the entire text and I copy pasted it in Google, and look what I found. Let me show you. Let me show you what I found. Share screen again, this, and share. This is actually the real book with the target text from where that text was taken. You can see the whole thing. I think by now you remember part of it. A constructivist approach assumes and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I really want to say thank you to Google for this. Excuse me, somebody's mic is on. Excuse me. I think it was a mistake, or maybe you have a question, maybe? So anyway, if you want to check one particular page or paragraph or piece of text, you can always trust Uncle Google on this one. Okay. All right, let's move on to the presentation. I think you cannot see the presentation. Let me share it one more time. Share screen, presentation, share. Okay. Yes, Abdulrehman. Yeah, we'll be on time, inshallah. So now, plagiarism versus research. What is plagiarism? What is research? Yes, Thabit, good point, yeah. What do you think about this? Copying chunks of text and then trying to change a few words. What do you call this? This is a feeble attempt at masking plagiarism. This is not research. This is still plagiarism, and you will find that different softwares and different sources will keep catching you if you do this or if anybody does this. Okay? So, if you cannot do that, then what can I do to write academically with no danger of being accused of plagiarism? So, if you follow a 3-step process, you will always be safe. Okay? I believe that earlier this week we had a workshop on using citation management software, Zotero. So basically, I'm not going to talk about the different conventions of quotations. That's a different topic, but how to actually avoid plagiarism, okay? Number 1, collect. That's the first option, obviously, when you collect all the sources. Number 2, synthesize. Excuse me. This is when you take the information in your head and let it simmer and let it cook in your head. And let me tell you what I mean by this. Excuse me. Suddenly my throat got parched. Sorry. And the last part, produce. And let me give you a little detail about what I mean by this. In step number 1, you will read multiple sources about the topic that you want to write about. Okay, so you can, at the same time, you can have many different PDF files open, or you can have different books in front of you. And just to make life easy for yourself, you can copy paste some relevant parts in a text document. Okay, just for ease of reference, not for stealing, but just so that later when you want to remember. Excuse me, a mic, please. Somebody's mic is on. I think Dr. Basim will mute that. Anyway, so yeah, just for ease of reference. So later, when you start writing, you don't have to go back and open the 10 different books. You will have all the relevant parts in one text file. That's the first part, okay? So collection. Then what? Then you read that text file, not once, not twice, but multiple times. And each time you read it, each reading will help you synthesize the material in your mind. Imagine cooking, imagine cooking. You take a pot and you put a tomato in it and you put an onion in it, you put the pepper in it, you put the rice in it, you put the meat in it. You can still see everything right there. Oh, there's the meat. That's the tomato. That's the onion. That's the rice. But when you put it on fire and when you stir it for, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, after that, then you will realize that now you have something new, which is not a tomato, which is not an onion, which is not like something made up of those things, but something completely different, a new dish. So that's exactly what you need to do with your research. The first text file that you opened, that's your pot in which you are putting your ingredients. And the second step, synthesize, that's when you are reading it again and again. That's when you turn on the fire on the stove and start stirring. And the last step, then you close the text document where you had the sources and start writing in your own words. If you want, you can keep the text file open, but try only to look at it and glance at it from time to time, just to remind yourself. Don't copy their words, If you follow these 3 steps, you can feel very, very safe, okay? and you will be able to write research articles which are plagiarism free. And as you may have already covered in the citation management workshop, that if you take a direct quote, obviously you will mention the author, the year, and the page number, and the quote itself will be in quotation marks. And if you rephrase it, then you don't need to, if you are using APA, by the way, okay, which is what is used in many universities in the world, including at King Abdulaziz University. So anyway, that's something which is about citation management. So yeah, Turkey, paraphrasing. Yes, very good point. Very, very good question. Turkey, thank you for that. And when I answer this question, that will be the end of my workshop, and then I will start the the question answer session. Let me show you something. Let me go back to my go-to point, this one. And I will ask you a question about it. Share screen. This one. Okay, can you see this text again about constructivism? Excuse me. Chat. Oh, I cannot see the chat for some reason. Okay. Iman, I will answer your question in the question answer session, okay? Let me take this, the question about paraphrasing. You remember that I use the same text on websites, on plagiarism checking software, and on Google, and everything caught the plagiarism, right? Now I'll tell you something that will surprise you. This person actually has paraphrased it from the original. This is a paraphrase. Are you surprised? Now let me tell you what kind of paraphrasing this person did. Look at this. This is the paraphrasing they have done. When you read the comments that I wrote, you will understand, but let me just show you. They changed this word, interaction, and they changed the word, let me double check that. New, yeah, the word new here. So this is the only thing that this person changed. In the original article, it says interacting by interacting. And this person changed that one word and made it interaction. And in this case down here, in the original article, it says constructivist models of pedagogy aim to create new environments. The original says create new, I'm sorry, once again, take three. Aim to create environments. That's the original. And this person just added one word, new. Would you consider this to be acceptable paraphrasing? Is that acceptable? Thank you very much. I like the responses. Yeah, this is not acceptable. And the best way to paraphrase something. Okay, Shazia says, why is it not acceptable? And Akram, not complete paraphrase. Okay, that brings up the question of what is paraphrasing? You know, I think that changing one or two words in a paragraph, that's not paraphrasing. Paraphrasing means saying something, the same thing in different words. So there is no formula here, but you know, like you have to process the information in your head and say it in your own words. And that's why I said earlier that don't copy paste the text and just change words in it, because that makes it difficult. Have you ever heard the word idiolect? You know what is a dialect? but there is also such a thing as an idiolect, a person's personal use of language, how we talk. Everybody almost has their own language. There are certain grammatical structures that we feel comfortable with and we use in different contexts. So when you take somebody else's stuff and just try to change words, it usually never works. So try to synthesize the material in your head and then write it in your own words. You will always be safe. And then the question comes up, who decides if this is plagiarism or not? That will be down to two things. Number one, the plagiarism detection source, whatever it is, the website or the program. And number two, the judgment of your professor. That also comes into play. Okay? So that, and with that, I will now stop, and now I will take your questions. I think, just a minute, let me just share the screen one more time. Yeah, I promised some of you that I'll answer your questions later, so you can give me your questions now, please.
All right, so thank you, Dr. Adil, for this very informative and interactive workshop. So now I'm gonna share, I already shared two links with you here, and thank you all for attending the presentation. So I just shared two links with you here. The first one is the evaluation form, please complete it. And the second one here is the YouTube channel. So inshallah, within 24 hours, inshallah, we will upload this wonderful workshop. So now let's see if you have any questions, comments, or concerns you would like to share. So you can just open your mic, or you can post your question here in the chat.
Thank you very much, Dr. Basim. So that's the first question from Shaman. Can we use educational materials that we don't know the source of? Okay, I tell you what, Shaman, this is something which is connected with plagiarism and also with citation management. So I'll answer this question briefly. I mean, if it was only citation management, obviously it would have been outside the scope of this workshop, but in this case, it is connected with plagiarism and it's a very important question. So I'll tell you something. I'll show you something. This is going to be useful for everybody. I will give you a link. Okay. Just a minute. Just opening the link right now. I did not expect this question, so I did not have the link already, but I'll give it to you right now because I think it's very, very, very important. Okay. In fact, before I give you the link, let me show it to you on my screen. Okay. Share screen, browser, there you go. Okay, this is what you will see in that link that I will send you. Okay. All right. By the way, I can see that Ikram and Basma and Rawan. Thank you very much for your kind words. It means a lot to me. Okay. So yeah, that link that I will send you, this is what you will see there. Okay. And on that link, by the way, I think it was Shamil that asked the question, right? The short answer to your question is yes, you can use educational materials that you don't know the source of, but make sure that you cite it in the proper way, okay? And where can you find information about how to, because there are many situations, right? There are times when you know the name of the author, but you don't know the year. Believe it or not, it's possible. Then there are times when you know the year, but you don't know the name of the author. And sometimes there are situations where you don't know the name of the author and you don't know the year. You know nothing. And yes, you can still cite those. You can still use those, but make sure how to cite them. And just to give you a practical example of what could be done, you can find all of that information on this website. Let me put the link here. This is the link. Yes, Amal, I will come to authenticate. Thanks for posting your question again. And Aisha, I'll come to you. Let me finish with this. To answer that specific question, how to quote an author where you don't know the source and you don't know anything. So I have it right here. Citation. Okay, this is, most universities and organizations use APA, right? APA. So this is from the original APA booklet, which is like more than, I don't know, like several hundred pages on, let me share the screen with you. Share. Yeah. So these are the actual guidelines from the original APA booklet, not booklet, sorry, the book on page 176 about how to cite when you don't know the author or the author is anonymous. And this is not the, this is just one example. You will find in that booklet or on that website that I shared with you, you will find how to cite different websites, blah, 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 everything, okay? Now, let me take a few more questions here, just a minute. Go back to the chat. Oh, sorry. Where is the chat? Oh, right there. Why is the chat so small? Let me make it bigger. Sorry, I apologize for this.
Okay, another question here from Amal. What about authenticate?
Yes, authenticate. 100% reliable, okay? And this is something that many universities use. The thing is that it's not accessible for most of us, okay? And I believe that even as far as I understand, KAU, I'm not sure, maybe Dr. Bassam can confirm that, but the universities that use Authenticate, or if you, through your organization, have access to Authenticate, yes, you can feel safe about that. In fact, my university in England, Exeter University, used to use Authenticate in the past. So it's a big name, yeah. Another one?
Yes, I would like to add here. Yes, you can, as a, if you are a faculty member at KAU, you can have a yearly access. So you can request it from the Deanship of, I guess, distance learning or something. I forgot from where, but I have the name of the professor that you can request from him.
Perfect.
This is one thing. The other thing that students can request like authenticate check from their professors. So they can do this for them as well, because students are not allowed to use this yet until, as far as I know, but they can request this kind of service from their professors or from their teachers as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's really good news. That's awesome news.
Yes.
Yeah. I will answer some more questions now, but let me just say one thing, that the actual workshop is now over. So those of you who want to leave, I want to thank you very much. And I will stay here and continue to answer some of the questions here. Nibras has a question. If I make a citation only for a secondary author and I do not write the original author, is that a problem? Okay, Nibras, that is something dangerous and I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't do that. But once again, that is something which is related to citation management. So I will refer you to that website, okay? All right, let's move on. Another question from Aisha. Is there a recommended website that would help you with paraphrasing? Okay, this is something related to, I think, once again, those free plagiarism checking websites can give you an idea about to what extent you can change it. And even Grammarly for this one, for paraphrasing a text, I think Grammarly is a very good option. I've seen many people use it with a lot of success. Okay, Aisha. Another one. Iman says, how do I do it if my English language is too bad? Okay, that one has only and only one solution. You have to improve your English. Yeah. If you're going to write something academic in English, you're going to have to learn English. Yeah. Next question from Amal has a question about the doctors. Okay, Dr. Basim will take this one. And Aisha says, if I take a picture from the internet, it must be from a trusted site. Yeah, yeah, exactly. All the sources should be from trusted sites. Now, the workshop is over. I'll just tell you, this is not directly related to this workshop. It's indirectly related, but I am very interested in one thing. This will only take 2 or 3 minutes, not a lot. I'll tell you this, then I will officially end the workshop. I just want you to do one thing right now, and I would really appreciate it. Can you please open this website? I will open this right now, and I'll share the screen with you. Okay. So there you go. I hope you can see my screen in 5 seconds. This one. Can you see that? Yeah. I want you to go to this website, www.socrative.com, and click on student login. Then it will ask you for the room name. In that case, enter my room. My room is Adil 8481. And inside you will find one question about plagiarism. This is not a test. This has nothing to do with anything. I am just personally, because in face-to-face workshops, I try to listen to everybody's feedback face-to-face, but obviously because of time constraints, we cannot do that. So I want to hear your opinion on Socrative. When you write it, then I will see it immediately. Okay, this just to show you that what I can see on Socrative, this is what I see. Oh, Hind has already entered Socrative. Thank you so much, Hind. I appreciate it. When you write your answer, then I will get it immediately. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And it's ma'as salama from me. Thank you, Dr. Basim.
All right.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Adil. Thank you all for attending this wonderful workshop. And we hope to see you, inshallah, next week. Next week, inshallah, is the last week for, we'll still have 2 more workshops. We'll see you, inshallah, next week, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you all.
Oh, okay, Abdulrehman. Just go to that website, Socrative, do a student login, and enter the room, Adil 8481. Thank you, Bandar. Thank you so much. And then tell me your opinion about how to avoid plagiarism, how you would advise somebody.